Welcome to episode 2 of Infinidat's Red Hat Solution Series. I'm Eric Herzog, CMO of Infinidat, a Red Hat ecosystem solutions partner. Today's topic is going to be scaling OpenShift Virtualization for large virtual enterprise environments. With me today is Mike Jochimsen, our Director of Alliances at Infinidat. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Eric. I'm happy to be here again.
I thought it would be helpful to remind people to review our first podcast regarding what we did with Red Hat's and our CSI driver and the value it delivers to OpenShift enterprise customers. Mike, tell us more about Infinidat and Red Hat partnership and why Infinidat storage is ideally suited to OpenShift and OpenShift virtualization environments.
Certainly. As enterprises adopt a unified platform to orchestrate a container and virtual machine-based workloads, the need for robust and high-performance storage solutions becomes even more critical. Red Hat OpenShift Virtualization offers the ability to run both containerized and traditional virtual machine workloads on a unified platform. When you pair that with Infinidat storage, which is known for its enterprise scalability, reliability, performance, 100% availability, and cyber storage resilience, enterprises can unlock significant advantages in managing modern hybrid workloads and virtual machines. The combination then of OpenShift Virtualization and Infinidat's high-end enterprise storage platforms provides a seamless solution to scale applications and workloads without compromising performance. Infinidat's enterprise storage architecture is uniquely designed to deliver low latency, as low as 35 microseconds, it's fastest in the storage industry, high throughput performance capabilities that align with the demanding requirements of containerized environments. This ensures that OpenShift Virtualization can handle resource-intensive applications efficiently. The scalability of Infinidat storage and its agile performance elasticity for consolidated workloads complements the dynamic nature of containerized and virtual machine workloads, enabling businesses to painlessly scale their storage needs in tandem with the growth of their applications.
That's great. How does the requirements for the OpenShift storage map to our ability to provide storage for high-end enterprise container environments?
The Kubernetes CSI model dynamically creates a one-to-one mapping for each PVC request a pod and/or the VM makes, which includes provisioning and underlying persistent volume and storage volume LUN. As a result, direct one-to-one-to-one mappings of PVC to PV to LUN are dynamically created and deleted following the lifecycle of persistent volume claims. The Infinidat CSI driver utilizes recommended best practices for efficient device discovery, including searching by ID to allow for discovery of greater than 255 LUNs per node, and correct device teardown order ensuring proper multipath device cleanup.
That's great. Can you describe further the work we've been doing with Red Hat and Infinidat to help our mutual customers scale OpenShift virtual environments across their enterprise?
Yes, and first, this topic is timely and critical given the changing landscape in enterprise virtualization. Infinidat has spoken with many global enterprise customers who are evaluating, implementing, or actively running production environments on OpenShift Virtualization. These enterprise customers represent environments ranging from thousands to tens of thousands of virtual machines. In fact, the work that two Fortune 500 Infinidat customers did, a manufacturer and an insurance company, were doing in their labs, led Infinidat and Red Hat to meet in our lab in Waltham, Massachusetts, where some of our brightest individuals on both sides dug into the intricacies of our CSI driver and OpenShift persistent volumes to experiment with ways to scale these environments. They investigated and tested changes to kernel parameters and other best practices to improve the scalability of VMs per host for large environments.
Given all that work and that input from customers, I'm assuming there must be a jointly authored white paper from both Red Hat and Infinidat that would be available at the Infinidat website and at, of course, the Infinidat page on the Red Hat Partner Ecosystem catalog. Is that true? Is that available for end users and channel partners to see?
That's correct, Eric. And we began this engagement with the goal of scaling beyond 255 volumes per host, and we were successful in a very short time. The paper that you refer to outlines our results, increasing to 420 volumes per host over fiber channel connectivity, which represents a 65% increase in volumes per host supported. And we also have continued the testing using NVMe over TCP, and we've now achieved 600 volumes per host. We think we can actually scale this even further, and that work does continue in our.
Those are really impressive numbers. Tell me more about how the work was done and how customers take advantage of it.
Well, we built a 3-node OpenShift cluster, which is very small, and it's not something a customer would typically run. On this customer, we were able to create 140 VMs per host, which resulted in the 420 volumes per host. And as I said before, this was done in a fiber channel environment. So numbers will vary for iSCSI, NVMe over TCP, or other connectivity. We enabled multipathing on the cluster nodes for availability and performance, and then we began to identify the common practices that impacted the scalability of volumes per host. The results were incorporated into the CSI driver and storage class objects, which were published on GitHub and referenced in the joint white paper.
That's really impressive. It's very clear that Infinidat and Red Hat have forged a very strong mutual relationship that benefits the interest from our mutual Fortune 500 enterprise customers and large service providers to leverage OpenShift and OpenShift Virtualization Manager. For our audience, I'd like to remind them we already have published a previous video cast, so please make sure you take a look at that in our Red Hat Solution Series. And there's another episode coming up. We will talk about both high availability and cyber resilience for container and Red Hat environments. Thank you for joining us.